Yesterday, LeBron James appeared on the Pat McAfee Show, apparently, chopped it up about a whole bunch of things, but one talking point was his opinion on the current coverage of the NBA. Let's take a listen to that.
Why I started, the podcast Mind the Game with JJ, last year. It was like, it was a looseness of the sport being covered and how the sport should be covered. It had got away from the essence of the game of basketball, of why I fell in love with the game, why I teach the younger generation the game, why I am in the position, that I am in. And we have that conversation. Me and Matt was like, okay, I got what you're saying. Okay, let me go figure it out.
Okay, Wendy, so LeBron arguing that the coverage of basketball is more focused on all the drama surrounding it rather than the true essence of the game. Do you agree with what he said?
I think there are times when the media is out of balance, and I encourage NBA players to hold the media accountable when they can, as long as they're okay with being held accountable by the media. I think at times our big challenge in really the game in the modern era is to find that balance. Let's not have 125 threes a game, but let's not ban the three-pointer. Let's have a balance. When people talk about the game of basketball, they want to talk about the drama. They want to talk about the X and O's. But I'm telling you, if you do a full show that's all X and O's, that's not going to be any good either. You'll have basketball coaches who want to do it, but if he sits down with Steve Nash and all he does is an X's and O's for an hour, people aren't going to like that either. So I would just say, let's have better balance. But people like the drama. People like the rivalries, and people like looking at why Luka Doncic has trouble defending Tyrese Halliburton in an ISO situation, which was about the way last night went as well. I think there's room for all of it, and there's room to hold each other accountable. But the finger pointing, I don't think that benefits anybody.
Wendy, I love you to death, but stop it. LeBron James needs to stop. He needs to stop. I'm so sick of him with this, how the league is covered, because he wanted to be covered a certain way that he wants it to be covered. See, again, this is what it comes down to with LeBron. And I'm a big LeBron fan. I've been knowing LeBron since 1998, literally, 1998. The problem that I have is, one, everything that comes out of LeBron James' mouth ain't the damn gospel. Number two, we're in 2025. It's a different era. Damn it, you have to adjust. But here's the thing. The coverage of the NBA, in my opinion, has been the same since I've arrived in the NBA, since I grew up as a youngster watching the NBA. Magic Johnson, was he not criticized? Kobe Bryant, was he not criticized? Michael Jordan, was he not criticized? Allen Iverson, he was criticized. So, in today's game, these players are so sensitive that it just don't make any damn sense. When I think about my boy Kevin Garnett and what he told me in 2008, 2009, Kevin Garnett was out. He was hurt. He hurt his knee. He was out for majority of the season. Rondo, he had elevated his game to another level. All of a sudden, Doc Rivers, he started running post-ups for me and things to that nature. And I remember KG telling me something. He said, Perk, just like your big ass run home and turn on ESPN when you have a good game, keep that same energy when you have a bad game and use that fuel to go out there and prove people wrong, right? This is what you sign up for. When you enter the draft, you sign up for the good fame and the bad fame. It comes with the territory. And it's fair criticism. If you play well, we're going to give you your flowers. If you play like garbage, then we got to critique you. It is what it is. I am a Shaqtin' a Fool legend. Literally. I think I won MVPs when it comes down to Shaqtin' a Fool. Guess what? It didn't stop me from going to sleep at night. The AC was blowing on 60. The ceiling fan was still blowing. And my toes was doing this in the bed at night. Move on. At the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. Think about this generation right here. Since he want to talk about being critical, we really could go there. Think about with Magic, Bird, Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, Keem Olajuwon, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan. Think about the way that how they pave the way for guys today to be getting paid $50, $60 million a year. Think about what guys are doing today to actually hurt the next generation. Think about that for a second. Load management, right? Sitting out games, complaining about everything. So bad that Adam Silver, who I think is one of the best commissioners in sports, he got to find ways to make guys go out there and compete. In-season tournament, play-in tournament. So, man, what are we talking about?
Y'all finished? Because
Yeah,
I cannot believe that y'all missed this, what I'm about to say. Kendrick Perkins has been on the record saying he considers LeBron James the GOAT.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins says a negative word about LeBron James, and LeBron James blocks Kendrick Perkins.
Unfollow me.
Unfollowed you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Unfollowed
hey, Stephen A.
you. Okay.
Hey, Stephen A. But let me say this to you. He unfollowed me, and then I blocked him on my cell phone. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
let me say this. So
Oh my
he unfollowed.
goodness.
Hold on. Let me get to the point. So he unfollows you, who has raved about him being the GOAT. Brian Windhorst has been covering LeBron James the way that LeBron James raves about the game being covered since LeBron James was in junior high school. Who did LeBron James go on national television and call weird? Who did he denigrate yesterday? That would be Brian Windhorst. This man talks about drama, but the man has a production company that tries to produce drama. He himself has produced drama. When he was in Boston and he decided to depart from the Cleveland Cavaliers, remember how he pulled off his jersey as he was walking away because that was going to create the headlines like this is it for LeBron James? When he sat down with Jim Gray, wasn't that a production? Am I missing something? When Bronny James entered the game as a Los Angeles Laker to open the season, was that not promoted? See, the point is he wants to have it both ways. This is what he does. So in other words, when we sit here, as I said, give me my ticker if we have it. Great father, great husband, great philanthropist, great director, great producer, great businessman, great husband, great everything. We've said all of these things. All he hears are the points that he don't want to hear because that's what he's sensitive to. But the good stuff that we say about him, which, by the way, is at least 95% of the time, it don't mean anything to him because we don't mean anything to him. And as a result, here you are, you have your platform, and we bring up the podcast and the Mind Your Game with Steve Nash. We keep forgetting that the previous Mind Your Game podcast was with the present head coach who replaced the former head coach that you wanted out, but you didn't say so publicly, but it ended up him being gone and all of it. But that had nothing. That was a production too. Everywhere you turn, it's a production. And all I'm saying to you is that we shouldn't be surprised, but I'm looking at him and I'm like, you go at Brian Windhorst? You went at players from the 70s or 80s. Giannis would average 250 points. You start talking about the game, and these are pioneers who paved the way, who positioned you to be able to catapult this sport and your portfolio, financial and otherwise, to astronomical, otherworldly heights. And because we're comparing errors or whatever, even when we talk about the drama, Wendy, even when we talk about the drama, Big Perk, we're still talking about the game. Now, why? Because there's an audience out there that wants the drama. So you find a way to give them the game within the drama, soaked in, meshed in with the drama. That's the audience. LeBron doesn't do that. He's a marquee for nothing. He's a marquee just because of his athletic ability. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You don't become a marquee. Tim Duncan is arguably the greatest power forward that ever lived. He was never the face of the NBA. He was never marketable enough because he didn't care to be. LeBron did and positioned himself along with honing his personality, his skill set. It wasn't just about his game. It's about his presentation. It's about his delivery. It's about his flair for the dramatic. It's about all of these things. He milked it. And now that somebody is able to peel nuggets of things that you could complain about, where in the grand scheme of things, 95% of the time, you don't complain about him at all. All of a sudden, he's now coming in trying to change the game and the way the game is covered. It's an absolute joke. But I'm not surprised that nobody's laughing.
Well, I met LeBron in 1999. And one of the things about him that I learned very quickly wasn't just that he was an amazing basketball player. It's that he probably was the most aware person I've almost ever encountered. And what I mean by that is the skills that he can do on the basketball court with how he can see passes 2 steps in advance, and he can, predict the way things are going to move. It's one of the reasons he's so incredible, because he's just got this incredible physique and an incredible work ethic, but his awareness is the thing that sets him apart. And if you ever spend any time with him in the locker room, his awareness will blow you away. He will be in the middle of a conversation with somebody. He will be seeing what's going on the other side of the room, knowing what's going on with that conversation, and he'll see a game that's going on live. Perk knows this, he saw it. And he'll predict the play that the team's going to run in the last second of the game. He'll do all that simultaneously because his awareness is uber elite, and he also has an incredible memory. So one of the things about LeBron is his awareness of the media. And he, over the course of times, has used this awareness to his advantage. He is a billionaire, not just because he's a basketball player. He's made hundreds of millions playing basketball. But his investments and in things in media have helped him become a billionaire. I can't give LeBron passes on things when he's not aware. I will never accept. I can accept that he makes a bad decision or a bad shot. I can accept that he has a bad take about something. But I can't accept that he makes a mistake on awareness, because his awareness is tremendous. And so he is aware of the exact situation that we are in 2025. He knows exactly everything that you guys just said. He chooses to go a different route. And so I would just say never, ever, ever underestimate LeBron's awareness when it comes to a basketball court or what's going on in the media.
Exactly. Perk, before I hand it to you, I would like to remind the audience of this. The same dude that LeBron James called weird and said what he said on the Pat McAfee Show as it pertains to Wendy is the same dude he once sat up on a podium and said, "There's nobody in the business that knows me better than Wendy, who's been covering me since junior high school." That's the guy that turned around and slighted Brian Windhorst yesterday on national television. Go ahead, Perk.
My last thing, and I'm glad y'all brought up the Mind the Game podcast. And the one thing I will say, sharing the locker room with LeBron James, being LeBron James' teammate, being in McDonald's All-American, all that, he is one of the brightest basketball minds I've ever been around. Okay, you lose J.J. Redick, and then you go out and get Steve Nash. I would never question Steve Nash's IQ or his intelligence when it comes down to the game of basketball. But Richard Jefferson just got hired as on our A team to cover the NBA Finals. He's smart as hell. Shannon Fry, who won the championship with LeBron James, who does NBA TV, he's intelligent as hell. Phil Handy, who LeBron James won 2 championships with, who's now doing his own thing, he's intelligent as hell. Hell, Draymond Green. Well, I know Draymond Green ruffled the feathers, but no one could ever question his basketball mind or his basketball IQ. He's smart as hell. So what I'm getting at is, why none of those guys, LeBron? These are your guys. Why none of those guys on Mind the Game? And I'll leave it at that.
And so will I.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.